Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hope all is well. Hope everyone's doing all right. I think got one or two people still trying to connect all the way. So let's give them a second and we'll get started. All right. Looks like we're okay. Looks like we're doing all right. So good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope everybody's ready to start a new semester. My name is Mr. Tucker. I am your instructor for these, what you guys, 8 week session. Yeah, I believe it's 8 week session, right? 245. Yeah, 8 weeks. So, since it's an 8 week session, we have to move a little faster than normal. Than the normal 16 week session. So, yep. So we'll navigate that accordingly. So let's go ahead and get here. So the fact that you guys in here means that you were able to get my information, whether it be through email or is through Canvas announcements. So let me go here just to make sure we are clear on the stuff. Let's see. Yep. So the emails that I sent to you and the emails that I will send to you will always be archived in Canvas announcements. So you see right here, just go to Canvas and hit announcements. You see the 4 emails that I've sent to you already. First one's just, greetings, telling you how the class is going to be ran. Zoom information right here, which I'm assuming you all got because you're here in the Zoom right now. And then we have the math lab access, required materials, and math specifics, which we'll get into next. But yeah, so if ever there's an issue wherein I've sent you an email, let me say this. If you have not seen anything from me in a while and you want to know if I've sent emails, you can always go here if you don't see anything in your emails to the Canvas announcements, and that's where all of my emails will be archived. All right. So let's go here. So this was that third email. Now your course ID is going to be different. Your course ID was what 48044. But this is just the instructions to be able to register and log on to Math Lab. And I'll actually go through it and walk through it in a second for those who haven't done it yet. But you type in mymathlab.com, go to register now, type in the course ID that I gave you in the email. And then when you go to register, you'll have 3 options after you put in your information. Type in access code, which is a 16-digit code that comes along with whatever you purchase outside of Pearson. So let's say you went to Barnes and Noble, maybe you bought it from a friend, maybe you bought it through Amazon, bought it from somewhere. Um, that's where you would type that 16-digit code in. Or you can purchase access. If you purchase access through Pearson, then they will not give you a code. They would just give you access. And then if you want to use the 14-day free pass, if you haven't purchased your access code yet, then you can do that. They'll give you 14 days full access for free. After the 14 days are up, they'll ask you to pay. If you're not ready to pay yet, then you will be locked out. You won't lose any of your progress or any of your submissions. I still have access to them. It's just that you will not until you pay for the full access. All right. Any questions on those steps? Very good.
Well, I have a question. So, how do
Hmm.
you purchase that on financial aid?
You have to go through Barnes and Noble.
Okay, and I
Hmm.
just the Virginia
Just like
Beach.
you would buy your. Oh, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
Is it a Virginia Beach location? Does it matter which
It
one?
should matter. It should matter. But yeah, all you would need to do is purchase access. That comes along with the code. Comes along with the class. Now, if you have any issues with their code matching up with our code, I think between this class and another class is 245 and I think 155. For some reason, there's been some problems, some issues with things. If you have any issues, you always contact customer service, especially if you already opened it up, because then Barnes Noble may give you a little hassle with taking it back. You contact Pearson's customer service, they can easily just switch it out and turn it to the right code or adjust it, whatever way they do it, but they can fix that for you. So
Okay.
yeah. But as long as you already purchased the code, you're in a good place.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, was that all you needed about the financial aid and the purchasing?
Yeah, that's more like an in person. I just have to go to the Barnes and Nobles and
Oh, I
purchase.
think you can. I think you can purchase it online. You go through TCC's website. I think you can purchase it online, and they either ship it to you or email it to you, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. If anybody else in here knows the process, feel free to chime in. Uh, but yeah, I believe I know you can go order stuff online, but I think they will mail you the access code. I think. All right. So the next one, math lab specifics. So what we use in math lab for, different things that I will be using math lab for. You cannot pass the course without access to math lab. That's why you get all your assignments, any tests, anything that we do will be done through Math Lab. Also, your attendance will be solidified through Math Lab. So I didn't mention it before, but every lecture is recorded. And I will create a YouTube link and they send you the links, by the end of the week of all of our lectures during that week. So you will have the opportunity, if you miss a class, to review it at your own time. So with that being said, it will be possible for somebody to miss class and then go review the lecture. But if you review the lecture, I'm not going to know that you actually did that. So the way you can always solidify your attendance, even though I will look at Zoom for attendance, but the way what really confirms it is actually going to math lab and I see activity. So let's say you missed both days that week. If nothing else, at least go into math lab and put a timestamp on your appearance. Go in there, go into a homework assignment, save it, and come on out. Something so that if I were to go back and try to, if I have to do a report on who's been attending or whatever, at least I got evidence that you were there. So that's the best way to handle that. But I will solidify attendance through math lab and your activity. If you're having attendance, having issues with attendance or math lab, anything of that nature, any type of issues, please let me know. If math lab goes out, Pearson server go down. Let me know. I won't know unless you tell me. Or I may know if I'm doing grades, but other than that, I wouldn't know unless you let me know. Or if you having problems getting work done or attending class or whatever, please let me know. You don't have to let me know deep, intimate details about what's going on. But every semester, I have people that just fall off the face of the earth. They'll stop coming to class. They'll stop doing stuff in math lab. They won't email me, and they just disappear. They won't withdraw. And so those people, I won't have a choice but to give them an F. So if you don't want me to think that you're one of those people, then I do need you to communicate something. Like I said, I don't need details, but I do need to know that you're trying to get this stuff done. You just having a little bit of issues, and you want me to work with you or whatever, and I do whatever I can to help you out. But yeah, so make sure you keep lines of communications open. When it comes to homework, you have unlimited amount of tries to get the best grade possible. And your grades, if you want to get credit for your homework, you want to at least get a 75 or better. 75 to 84.9, I will give you a 90 in my book. And that's an adjustment that I'll make at the end of the course when I do final grades. And then 85 to 100 is 100%. All right. So notice I didn't mention anything under 75. That's because it's unlimited amount of tries to get the best grade possible. Just being honest with the situation. You have an unlimited amount of tries, but there's no such thing as an unlimited amount of problems. So at some point, really, if you want to keep clicking, the problem that you had that you got the answer to because you got it wrong will pop back up again. You know what I mean? So really, you can get a 75 if you really want to get a 75. So that's where I'll mark it off at 75 is what you're looking for to get credit for your homework. All right, test reviews. There'll be a test review for every test except for the first one. I don't give a test review for the first one because it's all pretty much definitions and graphs. So majority definitions. So it's only one way to answer a definition problem because all you're doing is filling in the blank. So I don't do a test review for the first one, but after that, test two and on forward, even for your final exam, I'll give you a test review. It's very similar to the test. You do not have to do it. They're not mandatory. But if you score 85 or better on that test review, I will add 5 points to that respective test. So once again, you don't have to do it. I don't look at you sideways for not doing it. I would suggest you at least take a look at it to see if, just to help streamline your studies, if nothing else. Now for your tests that are unproctored, you will have 2 attempts to get the best grade possible. When we talk about proctoring tests where I have to watch you or whatever, we'll talk about those as we come across it. But like your final exam will be a proctored test. But like your first test is unproctored. That means you can do it at your leisure on your own time. You'll get 2 chances to get the best grade possible on that. All right. And then any test submission, you must send your scratch work. So you probably won't have scratch work for that first one. And for a lot of them, you may not have too much scratch work depending on the content, because this is, we talk about stats, a lot of it is word driven, but there will be some calculation, especially in this first one though. Probably won't have much scratch work because, like I said, it's basically definition based. All right. Any questions? Any questions on anything I said?
I know you said the test review, you'll add 5 points to the test. Is the test review, are they unlimited attempts as well, or is that limited?
No, unlimited. They're set up just like homeworks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. As a matter of fact, they will be under the homework category. And yeah, so they're just like your homeworks.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Good question. Good question. All right, so let's go to Math Lab. All right, so like I say, you type in mymathlab.com, and for registration, hit register as a student, hit OK. All right, make sure everybody's on the same page. Yep. So you type in the course ID I sent you. It should be Tucker 48044. And so we see here 245. That's your section. So if you have a Kit Pearson account already, feel free to type it in there and just connect it to your account. If not, you would do create, put in your information, and then from there you'll get those 3 choices to type in your access code, purchase access, or do the 14-day free pass, in which your 14-day free pass would be down here somewhere, and it will be in blue, small blue lettering like this. All right, so that's registration. So let's go ahead and get in here. See if you already registered. That's cool. That's cool. All right, where is my stuff? There you go, course tools. Oh, let me do this first, sorry. So homework. Here's all your homework to the end of the semester. Not in the, well, yeah, end of the session for you guys is 10/18. So your class, I'll do a little different. Since we only have 8 weeks, I'm gonna leave everything open to the end of the session. I would not the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the 18th is our last day as far as SIS is concerned. So that's why I gave you October 18th. I don't have no more days after that. So if you're a professional procrastinator, you got to move. You got to make stay on top of this thing. You only have 8 weeks. So now we're going to progress throughout the course. It is not to your benefit to start this stuff in October, right? So let's get in there and get this stuff done. I'm leaving this stuff open so life can happen, and you don't have to come and ask me for an extension or for me to open up anything or anything like that. Let's go ahead and get in here and knock this thing out. Once again, we only have 8 weeks to get it done. Now, take advantage of chapter 1 and chapter 2. Like I said, they're mostly definitions and graphs. So go ahead and get in there and knock that stuff out. And I'll show you what. Oh, I don't want to do that one. I got to go to the assignments. I'll come back to that. But yeah, get in there, and then test 1 has already been posted. So this is test 1 right here. Notice it says 0 to attempts. And let me go back to the homework. That should say, okay, yeah, it doesn't have anything up there. Yep. Also take note right here, it says sample tests and quizzes. That's under your actual test. Your test is right here. I cannot do anything. I cannot delete these. So if I could, I would, because I know people have went in there and done stuff before. Don't do these. Pre-test, review, quiz, post-test. That's not my stuff. Once again, the title is sample tests and quizzes. It's nothing that I can delete. They're embedded in the shell. So just, do your best not to get in there, because I know, like I said, some people get stuff confused. Your test is right here. And then when we post test 2, that'll be under that as well. All right. So let me go here. Course tools. So just give you an idea of chapter 1 when I say definitions. See, choose one, statistics is, and so I'm about to show you your definitions in a second, but basically you'll pick the right one, and that's based off what the book says. I just picked one. I didn't even mean to write. I didn't even read it, but you see, all it is just picking up what statistics is. Once again, population is. So that's what I meant by chapter 1, chapter 2 are basically definitions, and then we have some graphs in there as well. Oh, you know what? I don't think I shared that. My fault. Sorry. Here you go. So the first one's here. You know, you have statistics is, and so you just pick the one that the book tell you that statistics is, and you know, you get it right, you get that green check. Where it go? Notice how you get a green check beside it if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you get a red X. So here it says population is. I'm just gonna pick something to get it wrong. Notice I give one chance to get it right. So here, got it right, get a green check, get it wrong, get a red X. So now they only, when it comes to definition, they only give you one chance to get it right, because really all you gotta do is hit try again, and then you get the same problem, same definition. So like I said, these are definitions. Really, you should get hundreds on pretty much all of these, are close to it, depending on if you see some type of, you know, funky graph or whatever. But let me go to a real one. Hold on one second. I can show you how Math Lab works. 3132. Okay. Oh. All right, so let me get to, all right, that's easy. So here, just putting in any number. So they try to give you a hint. Right here, you're gonna notice you get 3 chances. Once problems that involve calculation, they give you like 3 chances to get it right. And then you can either hit similar question or next question. So now going back to this problem, notice they have this button down here, help me solve this. You click on that, it would actually walk you through that problem step by step. Most people don't click on that one unless they're just done or frustrated with the problem. They just want to know what the answer is. Most people who are working on a problem will click on view an example that opens up another window that shows you a problem that's very similar to it, but it has no effect on the problem that you're dealing with. And you can walk through this step by step. And you can even print out, you know, view an example if you want all of the steps. And then you close it out, then it lets you get to the problem that you want to. Also, if you want to reset the problem, similar question. That's how you get to do, you know, do an unlimited amount of tries. Then you have more help. Depending on the complexity of a problem, you have a video, and that's a video of another instructor, a Pearson instructor, just talking about that problem. Click on textbook, it'll send you to the place in the e-text where that problem is talked about. StatCrunch is Pearson's version of Excel. Pearson's version of Excel. You don't have to learn how to do that. If you want to, then that's fine. I don't make anyone learn that. Ask my instructor to send me an email with that problem. You can try that out. A lot of times I do get emails. Sometimes in the past, I've had people say they sent me something and I never got it. So I don't know if they didn't do something right or whatever. But if you do send me an email through Ask My Instructor and I never respond or never get it, always feel free to contact me through the regular means, whether it be just email vtucker@tcc.edu or Canvas announcements, you know, either one. Not Canvas announcements, through Canvas. You know, you can contact me through Canvas as well. Either way, I'll get it. And then some people print it, you know, depends on who you want to print it. All right. So questions on anything to help tools. Very good. All right, let me see. Is there anything else? Yep, there is. Let me go here. All right, so your first assignment going to be these definitions right here. Chapter 1 and chapter 2, which is shorter, only 1 page. So these different definitions are in order. Let me see if I can pull up the e-text real quick. So going over here to chapter concepts, or I could have clicked on e-text. All right. Okay. So this is the e-text. And notice how the first one right here is statistics. So that's the first one. You know, if you were to go back to chapter 1 definition and statistics, second one is data is bolded. So it's not made to be hard. It's not made to be a scavenger hunt or anything. It's just something that an assignment to familiarize you guys with the terminology. So when it comes to chapter 1 and chapter 2, I'm going to talk about a few things in chapter 2 before we close out today, but I'm not doing a full lecture on chapter 1 or 2 because it's basically these definitions. And that's what you need to know. And you saw these definitions are what's in my math lab. So I'm not going to do a full lecture on chapter 1, chapter 2, but if you have any questions that you may come across, always feel free to ask. Like I said, I'm going to cover a few things that people have had questions on in chapter 2 before we leave today. But your first assignment will be to get chapter 1 and chapter 2's definitions into me. You can either type them up or you can write them in a notebook and send me a picture. Either way, I'll get it and then give you credit for it in my math lab. I had to type that in manually. But you see, once again, it's not made to be hard. All of the definitions are bolded. And all it is an assignment to get you guys familiar with the terms, because statistics can be its own language. But if you don't know the terminology, you can start off, in a bad place. All right. So those definitions. Let me see this. This is okay. So definitions, chapter 1, chapter 2. We do by, hold on, this is Thursday. That's Thursday. So by September 1st. So you can get those to me by September 1st. That is a Wednesday. So it's next Wednesday. So like I said, once again, it's not an assignment that's made to be hard, but just to familiarize you guys with the terminology and go from there. All right, questions on that. So even if you don't have full access to Math Lab, in other words, you haven't paid for the access code, you still can get these definitions by your 14-day free pass, using your 14-day free pass. All right. Any problems, any questions?
Do you have a list where everything will be at for all the words that you want us to write down?
What you mean?
Like a list of set words you want us to find the definitions to?
Yeah. Yeah. It was, you go to the main menu right here, chapter 1. Hold up. Let me make sure you guys see my screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Also, I didn't mention before, your syllabus is right here. Yep, I need to, adjust it as far as from summer to fall or whatever, but the content's still the same, just in case anybody, needed that. But yeah, that's your syllabus right there. But anything else before I get into, what's it called? Looking at those things I was going to point out of chapter 2. Everybody good? Everybody straight? Okay. Real calculation doesn't really start till chapter 3. So that's when we'll get our full lectures in. We'll get into chapter 3. Probably next class, probably do 1 or 2 sections just to get us in there. But your main focus will be, getting these definitions taken care of. All right. So let's look at all right. So like I said, I'm just going to point out a few things. This is coming out of chapter 2. So the first thing is the distribution of shapes, of data shapes, or distribution of data. And we're looking at the shapes of them. All right. So the first one is the one that you most definitely want to hold on to and remember, and that's your bell-shaped curve. All right. It's symmetric about the mean, so that means our mean is in the middle. And it's 50% of your data to the right, 50% of the data to your left of your mean. So that's what means, just reflected about the mean. And that's considered your normal distribution. All right. And also, for the most part, I can't see most of you, and you don't have to enable your cameras. It's all good. But if I scroll up and you're still copying, always feel free to either type in the chat or unmute and say, could you hold on for a second, or can you go back up? Something like that. It's not a problem. But remember, if I can't see you writing, then I won't know. So yeah. Everybody okay? Can I scroll up? All right, so the next one is uniform distribution. And so that just represents the same level of distribution across the board. And I didn't mention here with this other one, the bulk of your data is, around the mean. And then as you go further away from the mean, whether it be greater than the mean or less than the mean, is less and less data. Yeah, so. All right, so the next two is why I most definitely make sure I go through these shapes, because they can get a little, I don't want to say confusing, but just depends on your thought process. So when you're talking about being skewed left, in my mind, it sounds like when you say skewed left, that it means push left. It means the bulk of your data would actually be to the left, but that's not what the case is. When it's skewed left, that means that the tail of your data is to the left. And that means the bulk of your data is actually to the right. So if it's skewed left, the tail of your data, that means the least amount of your data would be to the left. All right. And then skewed right means that the tail is to the right. All right, any questions, any questions? All right, so the next thing is stem leaf plot. So your leaf is going to be the rightmost digit of the data value. And your stem will be all of the values that precede that rightmost digit. So for an example, if I have 53, the 3 will be the leaf, and then the 5 will be the stem. So the leaf, once again, is your rightmost digit. And then the 5 would be everything that precedes that digit. And then if you have 127, the leaf is a 7, and then the 12 is the stem. All right. Any problems? Everybody good? All right, so let's do a problem that involves this. So those data values, we have 41, 50, 56, 71, 72, 72, 75, 80, 80, 82, 83, 84. Got 288s, 89, 91, 92, 93, 100, 101, 101, and 112. So I'll give you a chance to write those down. All right. So notice our smallest value is 41. Largest value is 112. So this data set goes from the 40s to the 110s. So let me erase this. All right, so this is how we write or start off our stem leaf plot. Notice that, like I said, it goes from the 40s to the 110s. So that's why I have 4, which represent 40, 5, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, and then 110. Okay, so from there, we're going to write down the leaf of every number that I see, even if it's repeated. So the first one is 41, so I should put a 1 right here. Then I have 50, that'll be 0, 56. Now notice there's nothing for the 60s. So I don't put 0 here because that represents the number 60. I would just leave that blank. Then I go 71, 72, 72, 75, 80, 80, 82, 83, 84. Whoa. I went to my 80s. I'm sorry. 75 should stop right there. 71, 72, 72, 5. And then I should drop down here to 80. Sorry about that. Just kept staying on the same row. 82, 83, 84, 88, 88, 89. All right, we have 2 80s, 82, 83, 84. Yep. And then we have 91, 92, 93, 100, 101, 101. Then I have 112. And so that's how you would do the stem leaf plot. All right, questions on what we did there? Make sure we're okay. All right, so I know you would say, well, why would you do something like this? Well, it just depends on your audience. If you do research on your audience and you know your audience like numbers, then you would do this. This is the same thing really as a bar graph. You know, if you were to look at that way, same thing as a bar graph, just, you know, turn it the other way. So, and if you have an audience that's more, you know, visually minded, like pictures and colors and stuff, that would be more something that will grab their attention, then you would use a bar graph and use different colors for each bar and everything like that. So is when it comes to statistics, it's really all about making sure that you present your argument in such a way that people can receive it. You know, I know you heard the statement that numbers never lie, but they can mislead. So you can take stats and make them say whatever you want them to say. And unfortunately, that's the nature of it. That's why you really shouldn't get riled up when somebody give you percentages, whether it be political or whatever, because they can take the numbers and manipulate them in such a way to make them say whatever they want them to say. For an example, we're going to get into outliers, in which, you know, when you get into your definition, you'll see outliers are very extreme values where very, very small or very, very large. And if you're doing research and you come across outliers, they tell you to run your research with outliers and then run your research data without the outliers. Whichever one fits your case, then that's the one you use. So in other words, if you run the stuff with your outliers and it works, you keep the outliers in there. If anybody were to ask you, well, aren't they outliers? You would say, oh yes, but they were observations. So that's why I kept them in, because, you know, blah, 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 blah. But if you leave them out, of your data, and somebody say, well, what about these numbers? You can say, oh, well, those are not normal. They are outliers. And so that's how data can get manipulated according to whoever's trying to present whatever it is they want to present. So those were just a few things that people have asked about in the past as far as chapter 2 is concerned. Other than that, there are pie graphs, bar graphs, and stuff like that that you will come across that you will have to interpret. So with all that, make sure that when you get in there, My Math Lab, look at your homework and everything. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask. Next class will open up for every class is is an opportunity for questions. Next class though, I will probably do 2 sections out of 3. I won't do the whole thing. We'll give you a chance to get in there into chapter 1, 2 definitions and be able to knock them out. So in 3.1, it's just like mean, mode, median, the average and stuff like that. So easy calculation. So it won't be anything too heavy. But don't forget, we only have 8 weeks. So you guys are expected to, be on top of this thing and get in there as soon as possible. So please, please, please don't sit on this work because you don't want to be, like I said, come October, still looking at chapter 2 stuff. You want to get this stuff in, knock it out as soon as possible. And like I said, chapter 1, chapter 2 are light work things. So you want to go ahead and knock out this stuff while it's light work before the heavier content come into play. Any questions, concerns, or comments before we close out today? Now, don't forget, class is normally, it's 12:30 to 3:20. I won't use up all that class unless, I have to. I can't foresee us having to sit from 12:30 to 3:20. But, as far as me lecturing, but that time is available for you to ask whatever questions you want to ask. So in other words, after lecture is over, if you want to stay back and ask questions, feel free to do so. But at that, but at that time, I will also let those who are, done, they'll be free to go. So those will be opportunities pretty much at the end of every class to ask whatever questions you want to ask. And then if you want to set up a time outside of class to meet, then that is actually, let me get it out. There are also options for you as well. I need to drink some water or something, but yeah, so asking for time outside of class is not a big deal. You just got to match up our schedules and then see what works best for us. Sometimes, you have to meet on Saturday morning, whatever the case may be. Want to make sure everybody's able to get what the help they need in order to be able to get through the course. Questions, concerns, comments, anything, anybody before we let go? I mean, that's all I have for today. You have your assignments.
Sorry, did you mention that you can purchase the code actually through the My Math Lab website?
Yeah, that's the second option. You need to purchase it outside of My Math Lab or outside of Pearson, or you can purchase it through the website itself.
Okay, I was just gonna say if anyone hadn't purchased
Oh,
it yet, $25 cheaper on their website.
Yeah, I was about to say, since you had mentioned it, it is a little cheaper, a couple of dollars cheaper. So she said 25 if you just go straight through the website. Yep. Now I will say this though, if you have financial aid, you won't be able to take advantage of, that unfortunately. But yeah, yep. Thank you for that. I think I saw somebody else with a question.
I did have a question about the definitions. I understand that they were due Wednesday, and as far as turning them in, what was the process for that once more?
You can either type them up or you can take a picture. If you want to write it in your notebook, take a picture. Whichever way, you just shoot it to me in an email.
Okay, cool.
Or scan it. Some people, scan it, whichever way. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? All right. Sounds good. Hope everybody, doing all right and ready to get this thing started, and look forward to having you guys for these next 8 weeks. All right. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and we'll keep it moving. All right. You guys have a good one.
Thanks,
Take
you
care.
too.
You
All right.
too.
Take care. Thanks.